False gods rising. The Lumeri arrived on a Tuesday. Their ships appeared in Earth's orbit without warning. Massive crystalline structures that shimmered with iridescent light, defying the laws of physics as humans understood them. They didn't communicate for 3 days, letting their presence inspire awe and terror in equal measure. When they finally broadcast their message, it came simultaneously to every screen and communications device on the planet. People of Earth, the transmission began, showing a being of ethereal beauty with opalescent skin and eyes that seemed to contain galaxies. We are the Lumeri, shapers of stars, architects of reality. For millennia, we have guided worthy species toward enlightenment. Your civilization has reached the threshold where you may serve us. Embrace our divinity, and you shall prosper under our benevolence. In the United Earth Defense Command Center beneath the Rocky Mountains, Admiral Hassan watched the transmission with narrowed eyes. They're claiming to be gods, he said flatly. Technically, they're claiming to be worthy of worship, corrected Dr. Eliza Warren, xenobiologist. Classic Clark's third law scenario. Their technology is sufficiently advanced to appear magical to us. I don't care if they can turn water into wine, Hassan replied. No one comes to Earth demanding subjugation. Within 48 hours, the Lumeri demonstrated why resistance seemed futile. Their smaller vessels descended into Earth's atmosphere, hovering over major military installations worldwide. Without firing a shot, they neutralized Earth's defensive capabilities. Power grids faltered, guidance systems failed, and advanced weapon systems simply stopped working. When South Korea launched missiles at the vessel above Seoul, the projectiles dissolved into golden dust before impact. You cannot harm divinity, the Lumeri broadcast again. Your weapons are as children's toys to us. We have disabled them as a parent might confiscate a dangerous object. Submit to our guidance, and your species will be elevated. Governments worldwide began to fracture. Some nations immediately declared allegiance to the divine Lumeri, while others called for resistance. Across the globe, cults formed overnight, worshipping the new gods from the stars. In a classified facility beneath the Pacific Ocean, Captain Maya Chen stood before a viewport, watching the experimental vessel that had been her home for 3 years. Unlike the sleek, conventional designs of Earth's regular fleet, the EDS Defiance resembled a matte black arrowhead, its surface covered with angular plates that made it appear almost primitive compared to the Lumeri's crystalline elegance. They've effectively neutralized every conventional weapon system on Earth, said Commander Rodriguez, joining her at the viewport. But they haven't found us yet. Because they don't know to look for us, Maya replied. Project Defiance was classified beyond top secret. Less than 50 people knew of its existence before the Lumeri arrived. The Defiance had been Earth's contingency plan, a ship designed to operate on principles different from standard human technology. Its systems incorporated theoretical physics that mainstream science considered decades away from practical application. It was humanity's moonshot, built not for exploration, but for the darker possibility that Earth might one day face an existential threat. What's the status on the analysis of their technology? Maya asked. Rodriguez handed her a tablet. Dr. Okafor's team has been studying the Lumeri energy emissions. They're not magic, obviously, just highly advanced. Their weapon systems operate on principles similar to our experimental phase disruptors, but several generations more advanced. And our countermeasures? Untested against their specific technology, Rodriguez admitted. But the adaptive shielding should, in theory, be able to reconfigure to their energy signatures after initial exposure. Maya nodded. In theory. Captain, Rodriguez hesitated. We're talking about engaging an enemy with technology centuries beyond ours, with a ship that's never seen actual combat. We're talking about the survival of human autonomy, Commander. Maya's voice remained steady. The Lumeri have already established outposts on Mars and Europa. They're systematically taking control of our solar system, while their diplomatic representatives demand our surrender on Earth. The door slid open, and Dr. Sahil Okafor entered, his eyes bright with excitement, despite having been awake for nearly 48 hours. "Captain, I think we found something," he said, projecting a hologram between them. "We've been analyzing the energy signatures from the Lumeri ships. Their technology relies on perfectly maintained quantum fields, intricate and powerful, but also potentially vulnerable." The hologram showed wave patterns shifting and realigning. Their systems operate on a 13-spectrum harmonic frequency. It's brilliant, allows them to manipulate matter and energy in ways we've only theorized. But it has a critical vulnerability. The fields require constant recalibration. "You're saying they have a weakness?" Rodriguez asked. "I'm saying their technology isn't divine. It's just highly advanced engineering with the same fundamental constraints as any other technology. Their quantum field generators need to synchronize at regular intervals. We've detected a 3-microsecond vulnerability when they shift patterns." Maya studied the projection. "Can we exploit that?" "Possibly," Okafor said. "We'd need to get close enough to analyze their specific signature and then time our attack precisely during that recalibration window. Miss it, and their defenses would be impenetrable again." "The Defiance's systems were designed to be adaptable," Maya mused. "If we can get close enough to their command ship—" "That's suicide," Rodriguez interjected. "Their fleet has our entire planet blockaded." "Not suicide," Maya corrected. "A calculated risk. The Defiance's stealth systems were specifically designed to mask quantum signatures. We might be able to approach undetected, at least long enough to gather the data we need and strike during their vulnerable moment." Admiral Hassan's face appeared on the main screen. "Captain Chen, I've reviewed Dr. Okafor's findings. I'm authorizing Operation Iconoclast." "Sir." Maya straightened. "The name seems appropriate, don't you think? We're about to challenge self-proclaimed gods." Hassan's expression was grim. "The Lumeri have given Earth an ultimatum. We have 72 hours to begin dismantling our remaining military facilities and establish temples in major cities. After that, they start making examples of non-compliant regions." "The Defiance isn't fully tested in combat conditions," Maya cautioned. "And it never will be unless we deploy now," Hassan replied. "Your orders are to approach their command vessel, analyze their defensive systems, and if Dr. Okafor's theory proves correct, exploit the vulnerability. But there's more at stake than just military victory." Hassan continued. "Our intelligence suggests the Lumeri have subjugated at least 7 other civilizations in nearby star systems. They maintain control through a combination of technological superiority and religious awe. If you can not only strike them but broadcast evidence that they're merely advanced aliens, not gods, we could inspire rebellion across their entire empire," Maya finished. "Exactly. We're uploading everything we know about their fleet formations and communication protocols. The Defiance launches in 6 hours. Good hunting, Captain." As Hassan's image disappeared, Maya turned to her officers. "Begin pre-launch preparations. I want all systems checked and double-checked." "Captain," Rodriguez said quietly. "The odds are irrelevant, Commander," Maya interrupted. "Humanity doesn't bow to false gods. Not today. Not ever." 6 hours later, as the Defiance's experimental engines powered up, Maya addressed her crew of 85. "The best scientists, engineers, and military personnel Earth could provide. The Lumeri came to our world claiming divinity, demanding worship," she said, her voice calm and resolute. "They showed us technology beyond our understanding and expected us to kneel. But there's something they don't understand about humans." She paused, looking at each face on the bridge. "We don't worship what we don't understand. We figure it out. Throughout our history, that which seemed like magic eventually became science in human hands. The Lumeri aren't gods. They're just another species that made the mistake of underestimating humanity." The Defiance rose silently from its underwater berth, its revolutionary propulsion system leaving no wake as it accelerated toward the surface. Unlike conventional spacecraft, it didn't need to launch from land. another advantage of its experimental design. As they broke the ocean's surface, the ship's stealth systems engaged, bending light and sensor readings around its hull. To any observer, including the Lumeri vessels in orbit, there was nothing but empty ocean where the Defiance accelerated upward. Stealth systems operating at optimal levels, reported Lieutenant Park from Tactical. No indication of detection. Set course for the dark side of the moon, Maya ordered. We'll use it as cover to approach their command vessel. The journey to lunar orbit took only 30 minutes, a testament to the revolutionary drive system that Dr. Okafor and his team had developed. As they emerged from behind the moon, the full might of the Lumeri fleet became visible. Dozens of crystalline ships orbited Earth, while the massive command vessel, nearly 2 kilometers in length, maintained position at the Lagrange point between Earth and the moon. That's our target, Maya said, nodding toward the command ship. Maintain stealth approach, all sensors passive only. As they drew closer, the true scale of the Lumeri command vessel became apparent. It resembled a cathedral built from living crystal, its surfaces constantly shifting with patterns of light that seemed to convey meaning and emotion simultaneously. Energy readings are consistent with Dr. Okafor's analysis, Park reported. I'm detecting the 13 spectrum harmonic frequency. Their shields are incredibly powerful, but there are indeed microsecond vulnerabilities during recalibration. Maya nodded. How close do we need to be for a guaranteed hit during that vulnerability window? Based on our weapons propagation delay, no more than 50,000 kilometers, Park answered. That's practically point-blank range in space combat, Rodriguez observed. It's also our only shot, Maya replied. Plot an approach vector that keeps us in their sensor shadow. We'll use the smaller vessels as cover until we're in position. The Defiance glided silently through the Lumeri fleet, its revolutionary stealth technology concealing it from detection. Each passing minute increased the tension on the bridge as they maneuvered closer to the command vessel. Captain, called Lieutenant Joe from communications, we're intercepting a transmission from the command ship to Earth. There, they're demanding the first human sacrifices as proof of devotion. Maya's jaw tightened. Record everything. When we strike, I want the evidence broadcast to every world under Lumeri control. Entering optimal firing position in 3 minutes, Park announced. Divert power from non-essential systems to weapons and shields, Maya ordered. The moment we fire, our stealth will be compromised. We'll need everything we got for what comes next. The bridge fell silent as the Defiance slipped into position. Through the viewports, the Lumeri command vessel loomed enormous, its crystalline surface pulsing with otherworldly energies. Targeting solutions locked, Park reported. Awaiting your command, Captain. Maya took a deep breath. On my mark, fire all phase disruptors precisely at the next recalibration window. Lieutenant Zhao, stand ready to broadcast on all Lumeri frequencies. She looked at the false god's vessel and whispered, Humanity bows to no one. Mark. Humanity fights back. The Defiance's phase disruptors fired in perfect synchronization, sending 6 concentrated beams of energy toward the Lumeri command vessel. For a breathless moment, nothing happened. Then the beams passed through the momentarily vulnerable shields and struck the crystalline hull. The effect was immediate and catastrophic. Fracture lines spread across the vessel's surface as the carefully maintained quantum fields collapsed. Direct hit, Park exclaimed. Their primary shield generators are offline. But the element of surprise couldn't last forever. Alarms blared across the bridge as the Lumeri fleet responded to the unexpected attack. Multiple vessels altering course to intercept, Rodriguez reported. Energy signatures indicate weapons charging. Execute evasive pattern theta, Maya ordered calmly. Lieutenant Zhao, begin broadcasting the transmission now. Across 7 star systems and dozens of subjugated worlds, beings of various species watched in astonishment as their divine overlords were revealed. The Defiance's cameras showed the damaged command vessel, its perfect crystalline surface now cracked and failing. More importantly, they showed what lay beneath, not gods, but aliens with technology that, while advanced, was clearly mechanical in nature. People of Earth and all worlds under Lumeri control. Maya's voice accompanied the images. The beings who claim divinity are not gods. They are merely another species with advanced technology. Their power can be challenged. Their authority can be questioned. Their rule can end. The Lumeri response was swift and furious. 3 vessels converged on the Defiance, firing energy weapons that distorted space itself. Shields at 70%, Park called out as the ship shuddered under the assault. Adaptive algorithms are compensating, but we're taking damage. Return fire, Maya commanded. Target their propulsion systems. The Defiance's weapon struck one of the pursuing vessels, sending it spinning out of formation. But the others pressed their attack, their superior technology gradually overwhelming the experimental human ship. Shields at 40%, Park updated. Hull breach on Deck 3. Emergency containment holding. Maya studied the tactical display, looking for any advantage. Dr. Okafor, could we use what we've learned about their quantum fields to disrupt multiple vessels simultaneously? Okafor's fingers flew across his console. Theoretically, yes. If we could generate a counter-frequency pulse precisely calibrated to their harmonic spectrum, it might cascade through their fleet. But our emitters weren't designed for that kind of broad-spectrum deployment. Could we modify the ship's comm array? Maya asked. Lieutenant Zhou's already broadcasting on their frequencies. It would take time to reconfigure, and we'd need to drop shields momentarily to release the pulse, Okafor warned. Another hit rocked the ship. Shields at 25%, Park reported. We can't sustain this level of damage much longer. Maya made her decision. Commander Rodriguez, buy us some time. Execute tactical pattern Epsilon. Use the moon's gravity to slingshot us around and put some distance between us and the pursuers. As Rodriguez maneuvered the ship, Maya turned to Okafor. You have 3 minutes to reconfigure that comm array. Make it happen. Throughout the ship, the crew worked with frantic precision as the Defiance executed a tight orbital maneuver around the moon, briefly breaking line of sight with the pursuing Lumeri vessels. Counter-frequency pulse ready, Okafor announced just as the Lumeri ships reappeared on sensors. All power to forward shields, Maya ordered. On my mark, drop aft shields, emit the pulse, then immediately restore full shield configuration. The timing would need to be perfect, a microsecond too early or too late, and the Defiance would be destroyed. Mark. For a brief moment, the aft section of the Defiance was completely vulnerable. In that same instant, the modified comm array emitted a pulse specifically designed to disrupt the Lumeri quantum field technology. The pulse traveled outward at the speed of light, washing over the pursuing vessels. The effect was immediate and dramatic. The Lumeri ship's crystalline structures briefly flared with chaotic energy patterns before their systems began to fail. Propulsion, weapons, and shields fluctuated wildly as the carefully maintained quantum fields collapsed into discord. It's working, Okafor exclaimed. Their systems are destabilizing. But the victory was short-lived. From the command vessel, now partially recovered from the initial attack, a new energy signature emerged, something fundamentally different from the technology they'd analyzed. Captain, I'm detecting a massive power buildup in the command ship, Park warned. Energy pattern doesn't match anything we've seen before. They're adapting. On the main screen, the Lumeri command vessel's damaged sections were sealing themselves, the crystalline structure reorganizing into a new configuration. They're abandoning the pretense, Maya realized. They're no longer trying to maintain the illusion of divinity. They're fighting to survive. A beam of concentrated energy lanced out from the command vessel, narrowly missing the Defiance but destroying one of the Lumeri's own smaller ships that had been disabled by the counter-frequency pulse. They're sacrificing their own vessels, Rodriguez said in shock. No, Maya corrected grimly. They're eliminating witnesses. Any ship whose crew saw the broadcast revealing their true nature is now a liability. This realization brought a new dimension to the battle. The Lumeri weren't just fighting the Defiance. They were desperately trying to contain the truth that had been broadcast across their empire. "Captain," Joe called urgently. "We're receiving transmissions from multiple Lumeri vessels, but they're not coming from their command structure. These are coming from lower-ranking crew members. They're asking for asylum." Maya's eyebrows rose in surprise. It seems not everyone in their hierarchy was aware of the deception. "Put it on speaker." A desperate voice filled the bridge. "Human vessel, please respond. I am 3rd Resonator Kelv of the Lumeri Scientific Corps. What you have revealed, it cannot be. The High Harmonics told us we were carrying out the will of the Divine Order. They told us our technology was gifted from higher planes of existence. This changes everything," Maya said softly, then addressed the communication system. "3rd Resonator Kelv, this is Captain Maya Chen of Earth. The truth has been revealed not just to you, but to every world under Lumeri control. Your leaders have maintained their power through deception and fear." "Captain," Park interrupted, "the command vessel is charging what appears to be their primary weapon. Energy readings are off the scale." Maya made an instant decision. "Broadcast to all Lumeri vessels. Any ship that powers down weapons systems and withdraws from Earth orbit will be granted safe passage. Your leaders have lied to you and are now trying to eliminate you to preserve their secret." Across the battlefield, confusion spread through the Lumeri fleet. Several vessels began moving away from both the command ship and the Defiance, their weapon systems powering down. The Lumeri command vessel, now facing not only the human threat, but also potential desertion within its own ranks, directed its primary weapon toward the Defiance. "They're targeting us with everything they have," Park reported. "Impact in 10 seconds. Divert all power to shields, including life support," Maya ordered. "Everyone, brace for impact." The beam struck the Defiance with catastrophic force. The experimental shields held for a precious few seconds, then began to fail under the overwhelming energy. "Hull breach on decks 4 through 7. Rodriguez shouted over the alarm klaxons, "Emergency bulkheads engaging." As the ship shuddered around them, Maya saw their opportunity. The command vessel expended massive energy on that attack. "Their systems are temporarily drained. Target their main power distribution node. Fire everything we have left." The Defiance's remaining weapons fired simultaneously, striking the command vessel at its temporarily vulnerable core. There was no subtlety to the attack, just raw determination channeled through human engineering. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, like a crystal struck by the perfect resonant frequency, the Lumeri command vessel began to shatter from within. Explosions cascaded through its structure as the quantum fields that held it together collapsed catastrophically. "Their power core is going critical," Park warned. "Massive detonation imminent. All engines full reverse," Maya ordered. "Get us out of the blast radius." The Defiance's engines strained as they pushed the damaged ship away from the dying command vessel. Behind them, the False God's flagship imploded, then exploded outward in a sphere of energy that rippled with all 13 quantum frequencies simultaneously. The shockwave hit the Defiance like a tsunami, sending it tumbling through space. Emergency systems failed across the ship as the crew fought to maintain consciousness under the crushing G-forces. When the chaos finally subsided, the bridge was operating on emergency power, illuminated by the red glow of backup lighting. "Damage report," Maya called, wiping blood from a cut on her forehead. "Life support at minimal functionality." Rodriguez responded, his voice hoarse. "Propulsion offline. Communication severely damaged but partially operational." "And the Lumeri fleet?" Park checked his damaged console. "Scattered. Many vessels appear to have surrendered or fled. The command structure seems to have collapsed completely." Maya nodded, then winced at the pain the movement caused. "Lieutenant Zhao, can you still broadcast?" Limited range, but yes, Captain. Send this message to Earth, and any Lumeri vessels still in range. The false gods have fallen. Humanity stands ready to establish peaceful contact with all species formerly under Lumeri control. We seek not worship or subjugation, but cooperation and mutual respect. As the message went out, Maya looked through the cracked viewport at Earth, beautiful and blue against the blackness of space. The Lumeri had come claiming divinity, demanding worship, believing their advanced technology made them gods among lesser beings. What they hadn't counted on was humanity's defining characteristic, the refusal to accept limitations, to bow to authority without question, to surrender in the face of overwhelming odds. Captain, Rodriguez said quietly, our long-range sensors are detecting vessels approaching from beyond the solar system. Lumeri reinforcements? Maya asked, tension returning. No, Rodriguez replied with wonder in his voice. The signatures are varied. These are ships from multiple species. According to preliminary analysis, they're from worlds that were under Lumeri control. Understanding dawned on Maya's face. They saw our broadcast. They're coming to meet the species that challenged the gods. 3 days later, as the damaged Defiance was towed back to Earth by rescue vessels, representatives from 7 formerly subjugated species arrived in the solar system. They came not seeking new gods to worship, but allies who had proven that no power in the universe was beyond question. Admiral Hassan greeted Maya as she was helped off the shuttle into Earth Defense Headquarters. You look terrible, Captain, he said with a smile. Challenging gods is exhausting work, sir, she replied. False gods, he corrected. And now the galaxy knows it, thanks to you and your crew. Maya shook her head. Not just us, sir. This victory belongs to humanity, to the scientists who built the Defiance, to the analysts who found the Lumeri weakness, to every person who refused to kneel before self-proclaimed divinity. Hassan nodded toward a conference room where representatives of the former Lumeri subjects waited. They're calling it the Revelation. Apparently, their histories all record similar events. The Lumeri arriving, claiming divine status, demanding worship. For thousands of years, no one questioned them. Until humanity. What happens now? Maya asked. Now, Hassan said, we help build something better than an empire based on lies. The galaxy is watching to see what humanity will do with the influence we've suddenly acquired. Maya straightened, despite her injuries. Then we show them who we really are, sir. As she entered the conference room to meet the representatives of 7 different worlds, Maya Chen carried with her the truth that had shattered an empire of false gods. Humanity doesn't bow. Humanity overcomes. And the stars would never be the same again.